Welcome to this Explainer. Today, we're putting on our hard hats and stepping right into the role of industrial development planners. We're heading straight to the whiteboard to map out the very architecture of a growing economy. Let's get started.
It's a pretty massive question, right? How does a nation actually expand its physical capacity to produce things and ultimately build future wealth? We always hear so much noise about the economy in the news, but true economic growth actually has a very physical, tangible reality to it. It requires a specific kind of fuel and a very specific sequence of events to make it happen.
So let's dive right in by defining what we actually mean by investment, or as it's known in economics, capital formation. Now, we aren't talking about everyday financial trading here, like buying stocks on a phone app. In our blueprint, investment is the act of using productive resources for the production of capital goods. Think physical machinery, equipment, and buildings. It's the concrete, the steel, and the technology that literally allows us to produce tomorrow's goods and services.
To really understand this industrial blueprint, we need to know how we measure true economic growth. That brings us to Section 1, Gross versus Net Investment.
First up is gross investment. Basically, this is just the raw sum total of expenditures on all investment goods in the economy. It includes absolutely every dollar spent on producers' fixed investments, business construction, residential housing, and even additions to inventory. It is the grand total of everything we're building and adding to the system.
But, here is the harsh reality of the physical world. Machines break down, roofs leak, technology becomes obsolete, and that brings us to replacement investment, which you might know as depreciation. This is the expenditure that is absolutely required just to keep our existing stock of capital intact. If we don't spend this money to replace worn-out or used-up plants, our economic factory actually starts shrinking.
This gives us our core formula, and it's absolutely crucial. When you take the total spending, the gross investment, and you deduct that depreciation, you are left with net investment. Net investment is the magic number here. It represents the true, actual expansion of our productive capacity, and that is what's vital for expanding future output.
So what exactly are we building? Let's move to Section 2, the 3 pillars of investment. Here is a high-level view of our 3 industrial columns. We've got producers' fixed investment, structures, and investment in stocks. Every single piece of capital formation falls into one of these 3 categories. Let's inspect them a bit closer. The first pillar is producers' fixed investment. This consists of the hard, physical capital goods purchased by producers to do their work. We are talking about brand new manufacturing plants, heavy equipment, specialized tools, and machinery. These are the direct, everyday instruments of production. Our second pillar is structures. This includes non-residential structures like offices, power plants, bridges, and roads, but it also includes residential housing. And notice a really fascinating economic distinction here. While large capital goods like those power plants go straight to firms, residential houses are actually sold directly to households. Yet, because they provide such long-term housing services, they are classified right here as a vital pillar of capital investment. Our third pillar is one that actually surprises people a lot. It's investment in stocks. And no, again, we don't mean Wall Street stocks. We mean physical inventory. Firms need to keep a net addition to their stock of raw materials, semi-finished goods, and finished goods on hand inside their factories just to ensure smooth production. It's considered an investment because it represents goods that have been produced but not yet consumed. They're just sitting there, completely ready to facilitate future economic activity.
Okay, so now that we know exactly what we are building, let's look at the functional assembly line that makes it happen. Section 3, the capital formation process.
How does this industrial blueprint actually get funded and executed in the real world? Well, it requires a 3-step sequential journey. It goes from a household's unspent income all the way to a bustling factory floor. It requires the creation of savings, the mobilization of savings, and finally, the investment of savings.
The entire blueprint begins with step 1, the creation of savings. Capital formation completely, 100%, depends on this step. Savings is simply defined as that part of national income which is unspent. It's not spent on current consumption. Think of it as a society's delayed gratification. If an economy consumes everything it produces right now today, there's absolutely nothing left over to build tomorrow's capacity.
But idle savings tucked under a mattress don't build factories, right? That brings us to step 2, mobilization of savings. These savings must be mobilized and transferred to the entrepreneurs who actually need them.
This critical transfer relies heavily on our financial institutions, moving funds via the banks, capital markets, and share markets. They basically act as the conveyor belts, moving funds from savers directly to the builders.
Which leads us to the final step, the actual investment of savings. This is where the rubber meets the road. Businessmen and entrepreneurs acquire these mobilized funds and they deploy them to purchase those capital goods we talked about earlier, the plants, the equipment, and the machinery. This is the exact moment business activities expand and the physical economy truly grows.
As we wrap up this explainer, here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. Without that initial fundamental act of saving, of choosing not to consume everything today, the entire cycle of building tomorrow's productive capacity stalls completely. Look at the blueprint we just laid out. Are we, as a society, creating the savings necessary right now to fund the pillars of tomorrow's economy? It's a question every successful planner, and honestly, every citizen needs to be asking.